Hey there, everyone! My name is Samuel Johnson. If you have no idea who the hell I am, that makes sense. But, in case you want an introduction, I am a very low-grade YouTuber whose main shtick is that for the last several years, I have done a series of vlogs pertaining to various franchises and TV shows that I myself was interested in growing up, or I just want to talk about, and then just posting the vlogs up. Typically, how the vlogs work is that I just sit down on my ass every Friday, or Wednesday in one vlog's case, watch an episode or entry into the show or franchise that I like, and then once I'm done, I just sit down in my chair and then record my thoughts in a video. The length of the video tends to vary depending on how much I have to say. And typically how the video goes is that I like to talk about the story and like what all the major points that happen in it, and then I summarize my full thoughts at the end, and whether I liked it or disliked it, and usually I discuss what about it I thought worked and what about it didn't, and so forth. So like I said, I've done that for the last several years, and the shows and franchises that I've just discussed have tended to vary. I've talked about shows like, say, Danny Phantom. I just 2 weeks ago wrapped up a vlog about Code Lyoko, and I also tend to look at stuff from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in various forms. My main core MCU vlogs usually focus on the movies, but I have dabbled in other media, such as the Sony movies, as those have been shown to be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and of course the Wednesday vlogs, which were What If, since I'm a huge sucker for alternate universes, and the What If comics are some of my favorite comics of all time. So, of course, I want to talk about that. But the thing is, the series that started all these vlogs and the ones that got the ball rolling in the beginning were Ben 10. When I first started these vlogs, they were primarily focused on the Ben 10 franchise, specifically the original classic series, and once I finished with that, Ben 10 Alien Force. For 2 years I talked about Ben 10, but I only got as far as Alien Force. I wasn't interested in doing vlogs on Ben 10 Ultimate Alien or Omniverse, or in some cases the reboot. While I have made exceptions to that rule on occasion, I just was not interested. I didn't collect Ultimate Alien when I was growing up, mostly because I hadn't finished my Alien Force collection at that point, but whatever. And unfortunately, Ultimate Alien was a show that, in my opinion, where the series went downhill. It didn't start that way. Ultimate Alien did start strong, but then as it went on, it kind of petered out, and I just wasn't interested in going back over that for the vlogs. So, yeah, again, that's not set in stone. Maybe one day I'll decide, maybe I will talk about Ultimate Alien, but that day is not soon. So I apologize to any longtime viewers that are expecting that for these vlogs. So, but with that being said, what am I doing now? Like I said, I finished Code Lyoko. Well, you see the title of the video. We're going back to Ben 10. But in this case, I'm not going to be focusing on the shows. Rather, instead, I'm going to be focusing on a specific aspect of Ben 10 that I really want to discuss. The crossovers. I effing love crossovers. They're one of my favorite things in fiction. And I love the idea of seeing two or more franchises coming together, having the characters in both franchises meeting up and working together, either bickering or working together, and ultimately just seeing them all and seeing both styles mesh together into something that I think ultimately by the end of the day is an entertaining little ride into something else. Again, it's always just so fun to see, and even when it's not, and even if a crossover isn't that great, it's still cool to see these characters interacting. And of course, Ben 10 has dabbled in that on occasion. And while they don't have a lot of crossovers out, at the same time, they are still unique and varied. And while I was in the middle of my previous vlog, the Lyoko Retrospectives, I wound up seeing a tweet from Levi Church that talked about these other crossovers that Ben 10 has taken part in, and I thought to myself, why don't I talk about that? And as a result, here we are now. As such, for the next few weeks, I'm going to be dedicating a whole vlog series to each of the Ben 10 crossovers that have been made. They were going to follow the same format as my regular vlogs, where I'm just going to watch one episode or special a week and then record my thoughts, but at the same time, they're not going to be as long. There's not that many crossovers with Ben 10's name on it, so it's going to be very over and done with in not that long time, and then I'll move on to the next vlog. However, before we actually do get started, I do want to lay down some ground rules, because I do have a specific mindset for what counts as a crossover in this case, and while Ben 10 has done stuff that will qualify for these vlogs, there are some things that kind of skirt the line, and these rules are specifically for those. So, rule 1: in order to be looked at for these vlogs, the crossover has to have been aired on television as an episode or a special of a show. So, while I am aware of stuff like, say, Fusion Fall, Punch Time Explosion, or Super Secret Crisis War comics, I'm not going to be counting those for these vlogs. It has to have been a televised special or episode. In order to qualify, it has to be a televised special or episode. No comics or video games, and unfortunately, no promos. So while I am aware of that short little promo where Ben Tennyson and Beast Boy from Teen Titans duke it out, I'm not going to be qualifying it for this list. So apologies. Which brings me to rule 2. Cameos and references don't count. In order to be qualified for as a crossover and for something for me to look at, it has to be like a full special. It has to actually have a plot that involves characters or elements from two franchises meeting up and taking part in a plot together. It can't just be, something from another franchise is referenced here, or a character from Ben 10 makes a cameo there. No, it has to be a full episode with a plot that involves both franchises meeting up. So I'm sorry to say I'm not going to be counting stuff like his cameo in Uncle Grandpa, or unfortunately the villainous orientation video, as while I'm aware that it exists, the majority of the special is just Dr. Flog talking over clips from the Ben 10 reboot in regards to Vilgax, and the only part that Vilgax actually plays in it is a brief cameo in the end when Dr. Vlog makes him an Omnitrix and it blows up in his face. In fact, from what I've heard, the majority of the special is actually more self-contained. It has nothing to do with Ben 10, so again, apologies if you want to see that, especially you, Levi Church, if you're watching this, but that's just how I feel. But which also brings me to the third rule: parodies and sketches don't count either. While I'm not saying that those are bad by any means, while those aren't bad by any means, it has to actually be like a regular crossover with the actual characters or versions of them. Parodies are just there to kind of just poke fun at that, and are not meant to be taken seriously, and are just meant for a quick gag. So while I am aware of stuff like the Ben 10 Franklin sketch from Mad TV, or the Ben 15 sketch from Robot Chicken, I'm not going to be counting them, especially considering that the nature of both Mad TV and Robot Chicken involves making parodies of stuff. That doesn't mean those sketches are bad. They're actually pretty funny. I recommend looking them up. The Ben 10 Franklin sketch is especially creative and fun, so I do recommend looking into that. But for me, those don't qualify as crossovers, so apologies if you wanted to see those as well. Which now brings me to the final rule: no self crossovers. In order to qualify on this list, the crossovers have to involve the Ben 10 franchise crossing over and meeting another franchise. It can't be something like a version of Ben meets another version of Ben, or it can't be a quick blink and you'll miss it, where you'll see where a younger version of Ben meets an older one. No, it has to actually be the Ben 10 franchise crossing over with a completely different franchise. Now, the other franchise can be from the same creators, but again, it can't be stuff like one version of Ben being another. So no, I'm not going to be counting stuff like the Alien Extinction or the Forge of Creation episode, or various other episodes in Ben 10 or in Ben 10 Omniverse. So if you were looking forward to seeing those, I apologize, but they're not going to be looked at for these vlogs. So yeah. But if you can live with those rules and are willing to watch, then I welcome you to join me on this admittedly short journey as we take a peek into the world of Ben 10 crossovers with, well, the Ben 10 crossover retrospectives. And for our first televised Ben 10 crossover, we're gonna be seeing Benjamin Tennyson crossing over with another Man of Action series that honestly deserves more attention in Ben 10 Generator Rex Heroes United.